somebody makes me really angry with what they've said, or I really don't understand. Like, I really don't understand what they've just said. One of the things that I'll do is I'll bite my tongue for 3 seconds. And the reason I do it for 3 seconds is because it's far beyond that half a second, right? And in the United States, we don't like dead air. So,
awkward silence.
yes, so people will jump in to fill the silence. So if I bite my tongue, I'm not going to be the one jumping in to fill the silence. So oftentimes the other one keeps talking. And in their continued talk, I can then kind of figure out what's going on. If they don't jump in, then I'll say something like, that's really interesting. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah.
Because I know that I want to really understand before I respond, because clearly I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
And I need to try to, hear and understand who they are and where they're coming from.
Can you give me an example of what you say in kind of that moment that makes that person, because at the same time, I never want to make that person feel like, well, they're an idiot, they didn't explain it right, so I always, but I get to these moments, I'm like, I'll be in a board meeting or a leadership meeting, I'm like, that doesn't quite make sense to me. And how do you?
Yeah, sometimes I'll say something like, I'm not sure I got that. Could you say that again in different words? Or could you explain that a little bit differently for me?
Right.
Or, it's interesting that you said this. Can you tell me more about that? So the goal is to get them to continue talking,
Right.
because then oftentimes you get that backstory, or they fill in the blanks that are missing.
And then it circles to it. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And then it makes sense.
Then at what point do you then say, this is not working? Like, we're not aligning the listening to what you're saying. How do you when do you gracefully bow out?
Well, and maybe before the bow out, it's a technique that you used just probably about 5 minutes ago when you said, let me make sure I understand, right? And you paraphrased what I said, and you looked for me going, yes, that's it, or no, that's not quite it, let me explain it again.
Yeah.
So I like to call that confirming, the skill of confirming. So before I respond, I got to make sure that I really understand you.
Yeah.
So to confirm, let me make sure that I have this right, Clint. You're saying this, this, and that. Did I get that right? And the great thing about that is, if you're right, that's terrific. But if I'm wrong, that's okay as well, because that gives you the opportunity to explain it again or to fill in the missing piece for me, because I think our goal is to align communication, which means that the picture in my head is as close as possible as the picture in your head. And because we can't see each other's brains, the only way that we can do that is through language.
Yes, you're like.